Hello and welcome to another BlenderWiz video tutorial. In this next video tutorial, we will be working on creating the little extra details that go on the car. This will include the side vents, the emblem, and the side emblem. We're going to be starting by creating the Thunderbird text that goes along the side and in the front emblem. But first, we want to get a reference image without replacing any of our originals. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to pop out a new window. So if you come up to one of these little breaker tabs, I don't really know what they're called, but they're the little lines that are in the corner that allow you to split the screen. If you hold down Shift and click on one, you can actually pull out a new Blender window. Let's expand that to maximum. Open up or set it to 3D view. I'm going to then split it once more and set the split to the properties. That way we have easy access to the modifiers. Now if you bring up the properties menu over here, you'll notice that we now have an empty background images block. So let's head over into the second render layer. Add a new reference image, turn on background images. Let's see, references, Thunderbird. Okay, so we're going to be modeling this text. Let's line this up quickly. So right there, and there. Should be good enough. Bring up a plane, let's tab into edit mode, rotate it 90 degrees along the X, scale it down. We can just click and drag. Can't tell if that's quite connected. We're just doing a pretty rough outline right now. Fill in that text a little bit. Okay, so this is the R. It's a little bit difficult to see what's going on here, but wasn't able to really find a reference image that looked better, so oops. There we go. Okay, so when you are happy with how it's looking, which I am not quite yet, we'll just go ahead and throw on a quick loop cut. Let's turn that up to 2. But first, I think I want to just grab the outline. Actually, no. First thing, let's put down a loop cut down the entire thing. So there's always a middle loop cut. Okay, and then with how I laid this out, this should span the entire thing there, so that looks good. Let's go ahead and deselect that one. Don't really know of a faster technique for getting this effect, but this technique is effective, but it's kind of slow. Okay. And let's just pull this out along the Y. About there should be fine. those guys out too. Okay. So that's looking pretty good. If we turn up loop cuts, there it is. I'm going to turn that off for now. Let's see, what else do we want to do? Actually turn loop cuts back on. I want to select the entire outline of the shape. Okay, and then just extrude that back. Okay, so then it should look like that. I'm going to turn off the transparency. And then, now let's sharpen things up. So, just bring in some loop cuts there, and there. And now we get to do it all over the place. That's looking pretty good. Okay, so something happened on the top of that eye. When you select all of the vertices and faces inside of the shape, Blender will, when you extrude it, Blender will kind of leave it hollow or turn it into a bowl. And that's not exactly what we wanted, so we'll have to fix that. Okay, so let's go ahead and just fill that out. Okay, so that looks pretty good. Okay, next I want to just run a loop cut along the outline of this shape just to sharpen up that edge there a little bit. Let's do that on the dot for the eye. And that's looking pretty good. Let's set it to smooth shading. Tab into edit mode again if you tabbed out. Recalculate the normals, and that should pretty well make your text look fine. May want to sharpen that up a little bit more, just by running a quick loop cut over the shape. pretty good. Oops. There we go. Okay. So there is our emblem text. Okay, so now we are going to be working on creating the front hood ornament. So let's go ahead and add in a new plane, rotate it along the X by 90 degrees, and let's just bring this down, bring that up. Let's cut it in half and get out a mirror modifier. Okay, and now we only have to model one side, which is always nice. Let's turn on clipping. Okay, so there's a quick block out of our model. Let's see. This next bit could get a little interesting. Let's just bring that over. Okay. That looks good. Now comes the fun bit of adding in all of those creases. Oops. So just take that center vertice, like there, and delete it. Next, let's take the other side and just bring it back equal to the back panel there. Okay. And then just connect them. Now, I'm doing a pretty high model or high poly version. You don't have to go this high poly unless you're doing a close-up, which I don't think I'm going to, but you never know. Okay, that looks pretty good. Let's go ahead and work on this down here. Okay, that looks pretty good. Let's throw in a loop cut, or not loop cut, a subsurf modifier. Sharpen things up a bit. Okay. Let's grab the outline, except for up here by the neck. Okay. I'm actually going to turn this down to 2 subsurfs. And then, let's see. How do I want to do this? Let's just pull it back. Okay, so that's looking pretty good. Let's sharpen that up a bit. Okay, in this next bit, we're going to be working on creating the head. So what we have to do is we are going to have to apply the mirror. But first, I kind of want to duplicate it and just hide it. That way we can always have something to go back to. Okay, so now apply the mirror modifier. Let's go ahead and, I don't know, this could get a little interesting. Select these guys there. This shouldn't be too complicated. Okay, that looks pretty good. Let's go ahead and grab that outline. Go into top view. Oops. Bring it back along the Y. Once again. Okay. So now we just have to connect these vertices here. And there you have it. A nice Ford Thunderbird emblem. Before we go any further though, well, I want to bring this down a little bit. Okay, that looks a bit better. We can also throw in the text, which we've created over on this layer. So I'm just going to duplicate this, hit M to bring up the move to layer, put it up on the third. Let's just drag it over, scale it down a bit, fit it in there. Okay, that looks pretty good. I'm gonna shrink down the T a little bit. Okay. Now that's looking pretty good. Let's see. And then when we're done, we can just combine the two. So let's see. Hit Control J and it'll become one object. Okay. So there is our Ford Thunderbird emblem. Okay, so now let's go ahead and work on the V8 emblem that goes on the side of the car near the vents. So create a new plane. Let's rotate it 90 degrees along the X. Split it in half, just like before. Add a mirror modifier. Oops, not a skin modifier. Mirror modifier, turn on clipping, and let's just roll from here. Okay. And Okay, so that's looking pretty good. Now I do want to bring out the shape a little bit more. So what we're going to do, just like we did for the text, create a loop cut on the edge, and then just go into top view mode and just pull it out some, like so. That'll create a nice edge there. Then selecting the outline, I also want to bring that back just a little bit, like so. Okay, let's give it a quick subsurf and sharpen some stuff up. So run a loop cut. Maybe not a loop cut. Doesn't seem to like the loop. Let's just turn up the mean crease to 1 there, and to 1 there. What's going on back there? Not really sure what's happening to this one. We have an n-gon. Why? Well, it looks like a quad, but it's not acting like one, and I'm not really sure why. Oh well. This still looks fine, even without any subsurf. It'd be nice to get a subsurf in there. Why is it not acting properly? Might have to do with our triangle. Which isn't acting like a triangle either. Oh well, that should be fine. Let's go ahead and create the 8 now. So just grab a plane, rotate along the X 90 degrees, split it in half, just like before. Once again, let's just block it quickly. Oops. Let's go ahead and throw in a mirror modifier. Turn on clipping. There we go. Now that's a pretty rough block, so we will want to use a subsurf there. Actually, if we just set this to smooth, and this one to smooth as well, that could work. Aha! I think that's where our problem is coming from. Let's delete that face in there and see if this behaves. Yeah, there we go. That's how it's supposed to behave. Okay, we can turn on our subsurf now if we want. Sharpen things up a bit. Like so. If it starts getting a little wonky, just have it recalculate the normals, and you should be good to go again. Okay, so that's looking pretty good. Let's do let's sharpen some stuff up on the 8. Just bring that forward. Okay, and let's do the outline over here. Good enough. Turn up the mean crease there. Mean crease there. Okay. That looks fine. There is our V8 emblem. In this next part of the tutorial, we're going to be creating the side vents that you see here. I found this picture on eBay. So, yeah, let's get working. From earlier tests on this tutorial, I was unable to use the array modifier. I think it's because they're kind of at a strange angle, and so things don't line up very well. And the array modifier likes things to line up nicely in order to work. So, unfortunately, we have to model all this out by hand. Good practice. Builds character. Okay. So we got a line here and there. Just going to duplicate these and go along the side like so. Can really see the inaccuracy in pictures because I've been lining up the top corner there, and then if you look over here, that's not at all close. Anyway, that should be okay. So let's go ahead and fill those in. I might just turn off the background image because it's kind of getting in the way. Let's go ahead and throw 2 loop cuts in. Like so. Just try to get them to line up pretty well with the tops. Okay. They look a little bit messy right now, but once we get further on, they'll start looking quite a bit better. So now I just want to throw in a bunch of loop cuts down the middle of all of the parts, just like we did for the other objects. Oops. Okay. Yeah, that should work. So let's go ahead and select the outline. Okay, I think I got the outline there. Let's just extrude it back like we did for the other objects. And then let's go back into front view mode and select all of our loop cuts there. Let's go ahead and deselect the ones on the end. So those ones there, those ones there, there, and on the inside, that one there as well. Okay, let's go into top view mode, pull them out along the Y, and that will give us a nice bevel. I want to throw on another loop cut there just to tighten things up when we go to add a subsurf like so. Let's also throw in a nice loop cut there, just to tighten things up. Okay. Also want to sharpen things, so let's put on a loop cut there. This is in no way low poly, but that's why it's not going in a game. Also, I don't know how to use the Blender game engine, which is also another pretty big factor. So let's tighten these up. You could probably use AO maps and normal maps and things to make it look good in a game, but yeah. Okay, so that's looking pretty good. Let's set it to smooth shading. Do I like it? Yeah, it looks fine. Let's see, let's grab these and turn up the mean crease to 1. That sharpens things up. I think I want to grab these. Oops, nope, not those ones. Start turning up the mean crease to 1 there. Maybe a little bit down. There. That looks good. Good enough. Doesn't really matter, because unless you're doing a close-up, this should work well enough. If you are, obviously spend some more time on it, make it look really good, but I think I'm gonna say that this one is ready to go. I don't really like working on this angle and not being able to use things like the array modifier. So yeah, this is the side vent. Okay, so in this next part I want to start attaching the little add-ons that we made to the car. So let's begin with the Thunderbird text here. Let's go into front view, duplicate it, move it over to the first render layer. Move our view over to the first render layer now. Rotate it 90 degrees along the Z, or negative 90. There we go. Let's just scale that. Go into side view mode, scale it down. Goes right about there on the fender. Something like that. Let's just pull it out along the X so that it's visible. So our fender here isn't exactly straight, so we need to rotate this ever so slightly to make it line up nicely with our fender. Just line it up. Yep, that should be good. Okay. Let's go ahead and duplicate this. Change our... I'm gonna undo that. So, let's center the cursor first. Hit period to change the pivot point to the cursor. Now select this object here, duplicate it, hit M, or Control M to mirror, and I believe select, I forget, not Z, not Y. Try X. Unfortunately, with a mirror, that didn't do what it did to me earlier. With mirrors, it'll sometimes flip this text around. I was expecting it to do that, so that the text would be backward, but it didn't, so let's just be happy. We do have to bring this text back so that it's in line though. And we also have to rotate it. So let's hit comma to go back to having the object be our pivot point. Just bring that out like so. That looks good. Okay, that looks good. Let's go ahead and start it, or throw the emblem on the front. So let's go grab that, duplicate it, put it on the first layer, scale it way down, bring it to the front of the car. And just plop it down. Okay. So that looks pretty good. Okay. Next, let's go ahead and throw the vents on the side of the car. So let's grab those, duplicate it, bring it over to the front, or the first layer, go into top view mode, rotate it along the Z, stop it, rotate along the Z 90 degrees. From the pictures I've seen, they are actually mirrored. So let's hit Control M, believe Y, yeah. Let's just scale this down now. Kind of position it where it needs to go. So right about there. Let's go ahead and stick it into the side of the car. Okay. I may just do a little bit of changing on the car right here, just so that it lines up a bit better with our vents. They're not actually real vents, they're just for looks. At least that's how it looks on other cars. So let's go ahead, move that back to the, or move our pivot point back to the cursor by hitting period. Let's duplicate, Control M, X, and there we go. That looks pretty good. Let's make sure that it's rotated. Don't think we actually rotated this, so it should be good. Okay, so let's go ahead and grab our V8 symbol now. I want to duplicate that, hit Control J to make it one object, move it to the first layer, scale that way down. Hit Control-Alt-Shift-C, I believe. Yeah. So origin to geometry. Nope, never mind. Don't do that. Forgot it's mirrored, so rotate it, I believe -90 along the Z. Let's scale it down. Okay. So that's looking pretty good. Let's go ahead and duplicate it and put it down on the other side. So period, Shift D, Control M, X, and there we go. Control M, I don't know why. Nope. Control M, Z. Nah. Let's just rotate along the X 180 degrees. Although not in relation to the pivot. So there we go. Yep, that looks pretty good. So next up, we will be working on the door locks, the handles, the tail lights, and we'll have to rework the bumper because I just found out that the model I have sitting next to me has the wrong bumper on it. They put the 1956 Thunderbird bumper on a 1957 Thunderbird, so that will have to get replaced. It's not too much more work, but we do have to replace it if you want to be accurate. Then we will work on the little grill that goes in there, the grill that goes on here, probably some windshield wipers, some other stuff. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you did, please like it, subscribe to BlenderWiz, and share it with your friends. If you did not, or found some things that you'd like to have improved for future tutorials, please let me know in the comment section. If you have any questions, feel free to message me or leave a comment. I will get back to you on that. Thank you for watching.